Welcome to Chess 24/7 and I'm playing with white pieces. Let's go for e4 and we have e6. So we have e6 now. I would play with King's Indian attack here with d3 followed by knight f3 if possible, and we have d5. So I'll not take on d5, instead I'll develop my knight, and now I can take with the knight. I mean with the pawn here, and let's just develop my bishop. But I'm not sure whether I should play my bishop to c4 or d3. I like d3 here because then I keep a close eye on h7 maybe later in the game. Because c4 would have been good if the pawn on e6 would not have been there, keeping a close eye on the f7 pawn. But with that pawn on e6, there's no point I should play my bishop to c4. Now just develop my knight here, and I'll just castle now. And let's see what my opponent does here. Okay, and now I'll fianchetto my bishop. Bishop e7, I'll just fianchetto. Now maybe he'll castle, which he does. And now I'll play a3 to prevent knight b4. But we have a5 here, so I'll play c4 now first of all. And now I'm threatening to play e5, hitting the knight on f6. So he develops his queen, but let me just gain some space. Knight e8. Okay, so now I'll develop my queen with tempo on h7. Okay, h6. Now I'll bring my a rook to d file because it's open, and my f rook to e file on the next move if possible. f6, but this doesn't look good because he is creating some light square weaknesses around his king, and I won't capture on e5. I'll play my rook to e1 now, because if he takes, then I can take, and I still have some control over the e5 square, and now I'll still maintain my control over e5. But his pawn on d6 also is quite weak. And over here I'm thinking of bishop h7 check, which launches an attack on maybe, yeah, bishop h7 check, and if knight takes h7, then rook takes d7, and I will be having control on the second rank, followed by some attack on the g7 pawn. So let me calculate. Bishop h7 check, if knight takes h7 bishop, rook takes d7, and then followed by, after the queen moves, then I can play queen g6, hitting the g7 square. But let me look at another variation. Bishop h7 check, king h8, but still I have this knight g6 check, forcing the king to take on h7, and then knight takes f8 double check, and then I can take the bishop as well on d7 with my knight or with my rook, depending on how the situation is. So yeah, I'll play bishop h7 check here, and he captures. So now I can take with the rook, and now I can play queen g6, threatening mate on g7, and I think that is, yeah, it. He resigned. Let me go to the analysis board and let me have a look at the game. I was playing with white pieces, e4, e6, d3, d5, and I have played King's Indian attack, and the idea is to attack on the king side with my light square bishop fianchettoed, and eventually playing f4. But over here I played knight d2, pawn takes e4, pawn takes e4, c5, and generally people fianchetto on the light square bishop on g2, but I wanted to play bishop d3, knight c6, knight g f3, bishop d7 and I castles, knight f6, b3 to prevent fianchetto my bishop, knight e7, bishop e7 bishop b2 and black castles, a3 to prevent knight b4, harassing my bishop on d3. a5 is, I don't know why, because now b5 is a hole, so I don't know why a5 was played. Anyway, so c4 to prevent knight d5, queen c7, e5, knight e8, putting my opponent's knight on a passive square was kind of an achievement for me. So queen c2, h6, rook a to d1, controlling the open file. f6, there's no point. I don't know. Maybe it's a good idea, but then you're making your d6 pawn, e6 pawn a weakness. There are some light square weaknesses around your king, so I don't know why f6 was played. Rook f e1, f takes e5, knight takes e5, knight takes e5, bishop takes e5, bishop d6, knight f3, bishop takes e5, knight takes e5, still maintaining control on e5 and thus preventing e6 to move, which is a weak pawn. Knight f6, bishop h7 check, knight takes f7. Now this is interesting because if, let's say, let me go for this variation wherein king goes to h8, then check, forcing the king to take on h7, and then this double check, and let's say the king goes to h8, and then I can take with the rook, and if queen c8, then rook here, and if this is played, then this will be played. So yeah, this is what I had thought about after if the king went to h8 after bishop h7 check. So any which ways, after h7 check, knight takes h7, rook takes d7, queen b8, and